Seth and I are going to Sydney. It's March 16th, 2014, and I wanted to take Seth because United is closing the 747 base in Los Angeles, so we are not going to be flying to Sydney on the 747 anymore. They're going to put a 777 on it, which is smaller, so to fly standby on it is going to be very difficult. So we wanted to go while he could still have a chance of getting a seat.
Here we are in Sydney. There's nothing really here to see. Except for plants, and other plants, and other plants. Totally non-stereotypical Australian fauna. We're just going to be walking around today, taking as much in as we can before it's time to head back to the States. Our immediate destination is, of course, the Opera House, which you can see right over there. We're taking a shortcut through the Royal Botanical Gardens, which are really close to our hotel.
It is thought that this Melaleuca was here in 1788 when Philip arrived, and since then birds have deposited fig seeds at the top of the tree, so we have two different species of figs.
Is the Melaleuca still alive?
Still alive, yes, but I started doing this 10 years, about 10 years ago, for guiding, and I reckon I've had about 40 years, maybe 40 years to live. And people say, well, why don't you get rid of the figs? This is a botanic gardens. This is nature.
Yeah.
Let nature do what nature does.
See that girl, folks? She's got a big chocolate birthday cake. If you follow her, it's free. Use your voice and watch my tongue. Just flick your tongue along the roof of your mouth and poke it out. What do we want to go now? We'll do something nice and organic. You like to see these?
We finished going through the gardens, and now we're headed towards the Rocks, which is the historical district of Sydney, looking for a place to have lunch. Apparently it's called the Rocks because of the rockiness of the shore when they first discovered this area. Next we headed towards the center of town to go up the Sydney Tower Eye. The view from the top was incredible. Looking north, you could see the Opera House, Harbour Bridge, the skyline of downtown Sydney, and as we pan to the west, Darling Harbour, home of the Maritime Museum. We went there once a while ago, but didn't go this trip because, oh, hey look, there goes our ride. Looking to the south, we could see the airport where we had arrived, and from which we'd be departing the next morning, bound again for home, nearly a third of a world away. Pretty amazing how modern technology lets us fly that large of a distance in so short a time. Anyway, this is St. Mary's Cathedral. Consecrated in 1882, it is the longest church in Australia and also where we headed next. The interior was an exquisite example of Gothic architecture, but unfortunately they did not allow photography, so I guess you'll just have to come see it for yourself. It's located just west of Hyde Park, where you will find a giant chess set. And here we have the Anzac War Memorial at the southern end of the green. Dedicated in 1934, it is a monument to the men of the Australian Imperial Force of World War I. As an aside, an interesting tidbit about this particular structure is it is said to be home to the only male nude sculpture in a war memorial, though that may or may not be entirely true depending on how you define the terms. But anyhow, and now we're going to grab some dinner. To finish off the day, we're going to go see Gravity at the IMAX Theater here in Darling Harbour, which just happens to be home to the largest movie screen in the world. After all, they said you should see it on the big screen, so to enhance our enjoyment, we decided to go all the way. We're just headed back to the hotel now over the Piermont Bridge, which is the oldest electrically operated bridge in the world. It's a short walk and then we'll be climbing into bed so we can get to sleep, get up early, and head back tomorrow morning. Due to the strangeness of time zones, we'll take off early in the morning and land before we even leave back in Los Angeles. And that concludes this trip. The out.